General risk disclosure. Trading financial instruments, including forex, futures, equities, commodities, and cryptocurrencies, involves significant risk of loss. Trading is not suitable for all investors, as it may result in the loss of your entire investment. Leverage, volatility, and liquidity risks are inherent in these markets. Before engaging in trading, carefully consider your financial situation, experience level, and risk tolerance. You should only invest money you can afford to lose. Forex and futures disclaimer. Trading in the forex and futures markets is highly speculative and carries a substantial risk of loss. The leverage nature of these instruments amplifies gains and losses, potentially leading to substantial financial exposure. This content complies with CFTC Rule 4.41. CFTC Rule 4.41 disclaimer. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain inherent limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors, such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs are also subject to the fact that they are designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. Equities and commodities disclaimer. Equity and commodity trading involves risks associated with market volatility, company-specific factors, and geopolitical events. While stocks and commodities may have a lower leverage factor compared to forex or futures, they can still result in substantial financial losses. Cryptocurrency disclaimer. Cryptocurrencies are speculative and highly volatile instruments. Trading cryptocurrencies involves additional risks, including regulatory uncertainties, security vulnerabilities, and lack of liquidity. Cryptocurrencies are not regulated by most governments or central banks, and their value may be affected by external factors such as news events and market sentiment. Regulatory references. In the United States, this content adheres to the regulatory standards of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, National Futures Association, and Securities and Exchange Commission. In the European Union, trading practices comply with the European Securities and Markets Authority standards. Global compliance. Content aligns with internationally accepted guidelines, but laws vary by jurisdiction. Consult with a licensed professional in your area. Past performance disclaimer. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any historical results or performance shown in this content are for informational purposes only and do not guarantee future performance. Educational content disclaimer. The information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as investment advice, nor should it be construed as a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any financial instrument. Always consult with a licensed financial advisor or regulatory authority in your jurisdiction before engaging in trading activities.
and filled with discontentment. Because if it was just around the corner or just within your grasp, you know that you just got to remain consistent about what you're doing and it's going to happen for you. But why is it that you don't feel that? Because the things that you're doing, the things that you're thinking, the things that you're dwelling on, and you're not filtering out the toxicity of things in life, not just in trading community, but in everything. If you're not filtering all that stuff that's going to be burdening you with decision making about things that you have no control over. If you are inundating yourself with that constantly, that's draining. And that not is only a speed bump or an impediment to you getting to your successful, whatever that outcome is. It's an incredible drain on energy and time. And anyone, no matter what level of fitness, aptitude, significance, position in life, whatever, if they're constantly feeding themselves negativity, toxicity, and letting that stuff steal and rob them of their time and energy in investing in themselves for the betterment of themselves, they're not going to be firing on all cylinders. They're not going to have everything at their disposal, like the wind behind their sails, moving them along. So why are you expecting yourself to be any different? You're not going to be any different. You're not going to be the exception. So it's important that when we start off in any endeavor, not just trading, but anything worth doing, shouldn't be easy, true, and trading is in the top percentile of that. Don't believe me, and if you've tried it, you've discovered, wow, this isn't as easy as the book said. It's not as easy as ICT said it was going to be when that video came out. I watched that. I want to go out there and trade that first fair value gap in the first hour at 10 o'clock in the morning. But it didn't do what I thought it was going to do, and I lost. And therefore, I'm questioning my decision about trading. I'm questioning my position about whether or not smart money concepts is the right thing. Is smart money concepts the new retail logic? Are they moving on ICT's stuff? Is there too many people doing ICT's concepts? And now it becomes diluted. And that's all nonsense. Okay, those are ideas that come from the mind of someone either is marketing something and they want to have a compare and contrast. And we've never seen anything deliver better than my stuff. But it's also from the mindset and the stance of someone that is feeling the pressure of not realizing their premature celebration. They are not in a position of realizing their goal. They have not arrived at success yet, and they just suffered some measure of setback. Now, in trading, we know what that means. It's the last trade. It's not, where have I been in the last 6 months and I've grown my account up to this much percentage and I've had a 40% strike rate. It's not even 50%. I can't brag about that. I can't go on social media about that, but I'm making money. But the last trade, even though I'm not profitable, the last trade I took, I did something impulsive. And I don't want to place the blame on me. So I got to look for something else to blame. I got to find some other fault. That is not someone that's pursuing excellence. You're inviting things outside of yourself to justify your poor execution, your poor preparation, your decision. You have to own that. And in trading, you can't just fault the next person. You can't fault, hey, you told me to do this, I did it and it didn't work. No, you have to own every bit of this. Every bit of it is yours. The outcome, whether it be profitable or unprofitable, deferred or early before you thought it was going to happen for you, that's all in your hands. No one can speed it up. No one can elongate it. They can't push it and defer it further away, but you. But you. But I want to commend you. I want to remind you that, it's Saturday, folks. This is one of the 2 days each week that the working class hero strives to get to. They just got to get to the end of Friday, and then I can go do what I want to do on those 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And the majority of the 9-to-5ers, the people out there, the pencil pushers, the wrench turners, the mower pushers, the guy picking up your trash, They're not usually spending their Saturday mornings listening to a guy bloviate about something that they have yet to master. But other people have done it. And the word on the street is it works really good and you can make money if you get good at it. So I commend you for taking time to invest in yourself. And I'm not getting paid to do this. There's no ad revenue here because I sincerely want you to understand what it is I'm presenting to you. Each of us, when we aspire to do more outside of the job, the idea is I want to have something better. There has to be something more to life than just this. This being get up, go to work, come home, greet the family for a couple hours, and make sure you get to bed in time because you got to do it all over again. And then find how you can make that income spread out as far as you can and lie to yourself and your family and say, we're living the dream. They call it that because you have to be asleep to believe it. You have to know one thing. What you're doing right now, if this is the first time you were here, or if you recently just started, or if you've been continuously doing it every time I've sat down and talked to you, you are separating yourself. You are distinguishing yourself from the 9-to-5er mentality. You're not satisfied with that. And guess what, folks? There's people out there that's never going to do what you're trying to do right now. And they can live a content life because they don't have unrealistic expectations. They don't expect to win the lottery. They don't expect to have some surprise. Here, you made some extra money because you were related to this person and you inherited something. But they're happy with what they've done in life. They love their career. They make their bills meet each month. Their children are not given things outside the scope of modesty. So they're not inflated with expectations and entitlement. Their spouse is content because they have someone that's a breadwinner. They're not living wildly. They're not taking crazy risks. And I'm not saying that can't exist. And I'm sure there's some of you that are coming from that persuasion and just morbid curiosity. You heard about this guy, ICT. You heard about these things called smart money concepts. And you just want to listen in and figure out, what is this all about? Not that you necessarily want to do it yourself, but you just want to know because you're curious. And you might be one of those individuals that I don't need to trade. I'm doing okay. And that's wonderful. That's a blessing. But there is a mindset in a lot of folks that is entrepreneurial. That means that you're going to try to do something outside the boundaries of a 9-to-5 job. You're not trying to stay in that position of, I hope they give me enough money to cover my cost of living increases and stay ahead of inflation. You want something more. And that's excellence. And that level of excellence doesn't come easy. It doesn't come quick. It doesn't come without cost. And while I'm teaching for free and I'm proving that I'm doing it in a mode where I'm not collecting anything, and I'm encouraging all of you to put it on your own YouTube channels, you make the ad revenue off of it. Make that make sense as a course seller. I'm investing in you because I know if you're spending time listening to me on a Saturday morning, you care enough to at least put your ear to it and say, what can I use from this as useful? Does it help me? Does it encourage me? Does it steer me away from potentially bad habits that I don't realize are going to be impactful to me and detrimental and push my goal further from me without me realizing it? That's what mentoring is. Mentoring is taking experience that other people don't have or could not acquire, and you're sharing that through experience, through conceptual ideas, and thought process. I'm trying to align and calibrate your expectations because excellence is obtainable, but it's not easily obtainable. And a lot of people that set out into any task, not trading only, but anything worthwhile doing in, 6 figures or more per year income potential, it's going to require you to have a little bit of different level of tenacity. Obvious, you got to be motivated. And it can't be motivation on the superficial level. That means I got to have instant gratification, because if this guy ICT can't show me how to make money the first time I sit down and listen to him, then I'm not interested. I'm going to find the next person that promises that. And I promise you this, doing this for 33 years, there is no one, there's zero, no one that's going to make this fast, easy, and profitable right out of the gate for you. It isn't going to happen. You're not, no, let me rephrase this in a way. I have students that are exceptionally well-versed in what I taught. They're profitable. They have proven profitability, and they run signal services. Let me say this, students, and I'm not trying to come at any of you, but I'm saying this in honesty, and if you just let me speak it, you can agree, or you should agree by your maturity. What I'm saying is the truth. Barring that, no one's going to put you in profitability right out the gate quickly and fast. But that is not knowing how to do it. That's simply just placing someone in a position where if they follow and do everything that you're saying you're doing and you're profitable, then yes, in that instance, those individuals could be ushered to the front of the line and get immediate feedback in terms of making money right out the gate. But that is not the same thing as them knowing what you know as a student. There's a stark contrast between the two. Knowing how to do this and being able to cut your own paycheck and make whatever you want to make. Make whatever you want to make. There's no end line. There's no ceiling. You can't make no more than this. Who says that? Who says that? The pundits, people that don't even make money, and they're miserable online. They're trying to come at everyone because they're just hurtful. Because they're ate up with envy, they're ate up with regret because they can't make it work in their own hands. You, as an entrepreneur, you're here on a Saturday listening, pursuing mindset, things that keep you calibrated on the right path. What should I be doing? What should I avoid doing? Even if it feels right, even if you have somebody online that you like, maybe they bought a car or two, or they go on vacations, and they show you things that way, and you're inspired by that. You know, as a young man, I like that kind of stuff too. But I can promise you, my neighbors didn't care about Lamborghinis after a little while. They didn't care about Ferraris. They didn't care about Audi R8s. They didn't care about the Aston Martins. They didn't care about Corvettes. They didn't care about whatever I brought home. They only care about it when it first happens. Oh, wow, you got a new car. That's it. That's it. It's over. The novelty's worn off. And if you are pursuing that measure of success, where you can afford to buy things at inflated prices to impress people that you don't really care about being friends with, they're not going to have Thanksgiving dinner with you. They're not going to have something underneath the tree on Christmas time. But you care so much about their opinion about you, you're going to go out and spend $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 for a car to get them to say two things. Wow. And how'd you do it? Once that novelty's worn off, you have that depreciating asset. Make that make sense. Because if that's all you're doing this for, let me tell you, that's stupid. That's dumb. It's wasteful. And you're not going to get what you think you're going to get from it. It only lasts a moment. Now contrast that with a lot of zeros after a particular number in your bank accounts, plural. And you don't have to go out there and do those things to make yourself feel content. You're with a spouse or a significant other, and they're not expecting you to do those things to feel content. You're grounded. You're made. You don't have any concerns about what inflation is going to do, what gas is going to cost. Steak prices are this much money in the grocery store. Oh my goodness. I don't even worry about that. And people that know how to make money as a tool, they're not worried about it either. But that doesn't come overnight. It doesn't happen like that. And when you first start in any endeavor, and you're usually sold on some kind of a gimmick, you get excited. They present that stuff to you first. And I don't do that. I tell you, this is going to take you some time. but you can get there. You're going to make a lot of money if you stick with it, but you're going to lose money in the beginning. And people don't want to hear that. They put their fingers in the ear or they turn it off. They walk away. They're thinking, well, I know me. Subconsciously, this is what's going on in their brain saying, I know myself and I'm not disciplined. I'm not able to follow rules well. I speed a lot in my cars. I cross the yellow line. I do everything I'm not supposed to do. And if I can get away with it, I'll brag about it. That's a character flaw. And those things are going to manifest themselves in your trading, in your decision making, in your speculation, in your timing of when you want to buy and when you want to sell, whether you're going to use a stop or whether you're going to not use a stop. How many contracts or lots you're going to trade in deference to Forex and futures. All of that impacts who you are as a trader. And if you're not successful, I counsel you to look at what you do on the regular. How do you live your life? Are you reckless? Are you impulsive in everything else that you do? And you think somehow suddenly you're just going to fall into, I'm locked in. I'm in the zone. I read Mark Douglas's book and I'm primed for success now. It doesn't work that way, folks. If I was marketing something and I want to have clicks and people listening to me just because I can bring a large crowd, I would do all that stuff. But that doesn't make you money. It doesn't do it. It does the opposite. It builds expectations and it toxic inflow of unrealistic expectations for someone that's first starting out. And you having an entrepreneurial mindset, because you're here on a Saturday morning, this is your off time. You're here listening to someone talk to you. And I think I got a little bit of credibility now. I've presented some pillars in our community now that have proven that they're millionaires. And they use the stuff that I teach that you're learning. And they're no exception. No backhanded comment meant there. I have no students that are superior intellects. There was no advantage of them being super smart ahead of time. Okay, let's put it that way. In fact, I have extremely intelligent people, neurosurgeons, astrophysicists. I have people in very, very high seats in their employment. Very, very intellectual people, much smarter than me. And I'm not saying that I'm a smart person. I'm just saying that I'm impressed and in fact, many times intimidated when I talk with them and this is what I do, this is where I work. And, it's humbling for me for them to say what they're learning from me is challenging for them. And to me, it's not because it's hard. It's not technically hard. It's that they're very, very academically smart. Like my uncle, academically smart, book smart. And it's very hard for someone book smart from academia to come into this field unless you're a quant and you break things down algorithmically. It's hard for someone to bridge that gap. And if you fall in that category, you're among very good company because it's not an isolated thing just for you. You're looking at things in such a rigid manner, and you're also bringing whatever personal characteristics that you have, you're obsessive about, they're impeding your understanding. Because my concepts they're not hard. I don't complicate anything. What complicates it is when other individuals come to it and they want to say, this is rebranded this. Okay, well, it's not rebranded because you're not coming forward with this is where it came from, this is how you're using it, and this is how they taught it. So that falls short. The other expectation is they come here to say nobody makes money with it. It doesn't work. None of it works. And we've smashed that continuously. There's people coming forward all the time. Here you go. I got receipts. Here you go. I got receipts. So it matters not how much is in my bank account, what I'm earning. You don't spend my money. But you coming to me in the beginning, you want to see, does anybody do anything with this? Can anybody learn from this guy? And there's an army of people out there to do it. And I allow these individuals to step forward, have their flowers, have their moment because it's encouragement for them. They feel good. It's a moment of accomplishment. But it's also more impactful to you as someone that's on the fence deciding whether or not this is for you. Because remember, I'm not dangling anything in front of you. I'm telling you in the beginning, you're going to have to work for this. But there's nothing like this. And even if you do a small percentage of what you hope to achieve, isn't that better than never having done it at all? That's still victory. That's still accomplishment. It's better than you were. So what? You can't make $100,000 a month. But if you make an extra $1,000 a month and it's relatively easy for you to get to that, if you just can't grind past that for right now and you're able to do that, man, that is success. That you're doing something most people can't do. And you should be thankful that you have that. Or if you're realistic and you're aiming for something like that, because that's how I started, folks. I started that way. In 1992, I sat down and said, if I could just manage to see through doing investments, $1,000 a month, I could retire a millionaire when I turned 40. Easier than I thought it was going to be, because I had lowered my expectations and broadened my time horizons. I didn't pressure myself, at least in terms of timing, when I would arrive there. But I still brought my impatience about, I want to win more often, because I attributed winning to progress, proof that I could feel better about whatever immediate things that were making me feel insignificant as a young man. And if you're in that stage of life where you feel like you have to measure up, you have to present yourself to the world, you don't. You don't need to do that. And I wasted time and energy doing all those things. That's not excellence. Before I had lots of money, I thought everybody with lots of money had to go around showing everybody what their billfold had in it. You got to pull out this big knot of money in my pants and show everybody, look what I got. And this ain't all I got. This is what I brought with me today. Yeah, you might get strange looks like, man, why are you carrying all that around? Because I can, because I have it, and because I intend to spend all this before I go home today, and it won't hurt me, because I want the reactions like you just gave me. And that's what young men want to do. But excellence, affluence, they don't live that way. They're not out there proving how much money they have. They're not certainly going out there and showing what they have in the bank account. That's new money. And I did that stuff. But the reaction you're expecting to get, you're never getting it. So don't aspire to do those things. That is not excellence. That's pandering to other people in hopes that they're going to worship you. And those things make you do things in trading prematurely. You over leverage, you take greater risks, and because you are basically undisciplined, you're not going to follow a model. You're not going to follow a plan, not the way you should. And what kind of results will you get if you're doing that? Subpar. And because you're doing it through these internal mechanisms that as men, we wrestle with it all the time. We all wrestle with it. I wrestled with it. Every other mentor out there that's trying to sell a service, a product, attention, watch my live stream, use my code, do all that stuff, they are all wrestling with it. But they're trying to put their best foot forward and try to make themselves stand apart from everyone else. And when they're all the same people, they're all wrestling with it. So I'm just trying to be a voice of reason and remind you that when you first start out, you have to prune a lot of these things away from yourself because they're detrimental to your development. They're going to hinder you. And you can't speed it up. No one can speed it up for you. So you have to give yourself permission to grow at your own pace and don't schedule your success. I better learn how to do this by this day, this month. And if I don't, I'm done with this. Then if that's what you're going to do, let me please give you the best piece of advice. Go do something else. I mean that sincerely because you're going to waste your time. You're not wasting my time or anyone else's time listening, but you're going to waste your time. And I would want to be told this in the beginning. If I knew that I'm going to be impulsive, impatient, undisciplined, irresponsible, not own my own mistakes, and not learn from these mistakes as opportunities, because that's how we learn. Anybody that tells you that you're going to walk out there and have 90% strike rate, you're going to be able to make lots of money, it's not going to be easy, you're going to have very small stop losses. Come on, man. And they're going to sell the course to you to do that. They're not going to sell you a course if they can do that. I can do it, and I'm not selling you anything because I can make as much money as I want without ever having my hand held out in front of you. That's how you understand who knows what and who has to do what. I'm providing you a roadmap. This is how you should live. This is how you should perform as a trader. You want to be independently thought-based. You want to be principally and purposely intent about what you're studying and be realistic, sober-minded about how long it may take you. It's left up to however long it takes because you're pursuing this. Forget about how long it takes. It's not like college, folks, where I have to report to the class and I do the work. I get the credit and I go to the next course that I'm required to go. And after 4 years, I get my degree. That doesn't guarantee you're getting the job. That guarantees nothing. It just means you got a participation award. That's it. That's what a college education is. Today, it's minimized to just that. In this, you're in it, hands in it every single day. You're learning. Do you really have it in you to be a trader? Because if you can't warm up to the idea of backtesting, which is everything you do in college, drills, exams, experiments, labs, remember that? That's what the first half of your career is about in trading. You're learning. You're getting your hands in there. You're cutting open that frog to see what its digestive tract looks like. You're getting your hands gooey, and it doesn't smell good. It's gross. Well, that's what it's like backtesting. This is boring. How am I going to make any money doing this? You're going to make all the money you're ever going to want by doing that. Because what you're learning to identify, recognize, seeing repeat over and over and over again is determined by these experiences in that backtesting environment. You're building the opportunity for your subconscious to retain this is what it looks like in the past. When it does these things, when price behaves this way, it looks just like this. It does it at this time. It behaves like this. It fits the criteria. It follows all of the characteristics and tenets that I teach. It's not enough for me to give you one video and say, here is optimal trade entry. This is what it looks like for a short. This is what it looks like for a long. And then you think doing this viewing of a video that you now have acquired the skill to go out there and recognize that. You don't. You have to go through price action and see how it behaved and how it formed in the past. Because what that does, it locks into your understanding, your observation skills, that you will immediately run right into it and see it in price action. And you'll be able to anticipate it forming because you've seen so many examples of it so many times. It becomes just like a truck driver or someone that's driven a lot. You're driving down the road, and you've probably done this last night or today. You're probably listening to me driving, and you probably just had it happen to you. You're driving, you're looking down the road a little bit, and this car, you know this car is going to jump in front of you without a signal. You're thinking it. And so much that you've done it so many times, your person sitting in the passenger seat, you can watch this person. He's going to come over without a signal and change lanes with no signal. And they do it. And then you want to look at them and smile like, woo! See that? I should put a 900 number up there and do psychic readings now, right? You blow it up to be something bigger than it really is. But what is that? It's intuition. Why? How did you know? How did you know? How did you bend time and space? You leaped forward in time continuum and came back with information that nobody else had, and you predicted that person in that car with that stupid bumper sticker. Whoever uses bumper stickers today is retarded. Bottom line is you predicted the future. And it happened. Can you imagine if you could do that consistently? Well, guess what, folks? That's like timing the market. You know, what they say you can't do. Oh, that's good. The bottom line is this. You can learn this You can predict every individual candlestick's formation. As it's forming, you will anticipate what it will do and what it should not do. Why? How could you do that? How are you able to predict when they're going to cut in front of you without a turn signal? Oh, you're listening to no music. The radio's off. All of a sudden, bang. Song just jumps in your head. It's not on the top 40 list right now. It's an oldie but goodie. But it just literally just jumps in your head. You turn the radio on. What's playing? That song. How on earth did you leave your body, jump onto the astral plane, grab that information, come back, start singing it, and then all of a sudden it's on the radio? How'd you do that? That's what it looks like to everyone else. Voodoo. The voodoo that we do, that technical science. You're activating your reticular activating system when you're backtesting. You're allowing the subconscious to filter out everything else. There's a lot of candlesticks on that chart. There's a whole lot of stuff on the charts that I'm posting. And I'm always talking about the thing that matters right now. What's going to happen right now and next? And where's it going to? That comes by way of backtesting. I did not have this downloading Neo experiment, okay, where I suddenly knew Kung Fu in the charts. It didn't happen that way, okay? I had to sit in charts and look for these things that I was prompted that, look at this, look at this. Well, what about that? It was just, look here, look there. And then I had to build an idea around, what's so significant about that? And I said, oh, wow. When this candlestick has an exposure of one singular range over an encapsulated measure of time, which is one candlestick, and then in layman's terms, it's the fair value gap. If I'm bullish and that's an up-close candle, if it can come back down into that and stay in the upper half at a very particular time of the day, there's a strong possibility that it's probably going to go up from there and not go below the candle that makes candle number one low. Because fair value gap is 3 candles. Number 2 candle is the middle imbalance. So if it's a bullish fair value gap, candle number 1, that low, should never be traded to. And that's the easiest stop loss placement idea there is. It's the easiest thing. You know what makes it hard? You know what makes it so impossible for you to use that information? Because you can't trade enough contracts. Because the stop would be too big for you to risk that. Well, that's telling you that you're trying to trade with too much leverage. But you don't see it that way. You see it as, this doesn't work for me. I want to take this information and do something amazingly independent from what ICT taught. I want to put my spin on it. And I want to maximize it. I want to have a small stop loss. I want to go in there and look, I used a 1.5 handle stop loss. Aren't you impressed? No, I'm not impressed. I want to see you follow the rules. I want to see you follow the rules. Bullish fair value gap, stop loss at the low of candlestick number 1. And learn to trust that. For 6 months, don't do anything less than that. And over time, what you're going to learn, because you got money on the line, you have an outcome that's measured with a little bit of skin in the race. You're going to see, wow, 80% of my trades, it never went to the low of the fair value gap, let alone go to the low of the candlestick number 1. So what do you think is going to happen there? You're going to graduate to saying, okay, well, I can start moving my stop loss up half of that range between the low of the fair value gap, the high of candlestick number 1, and the low of candlestick number 1. Whatever that range is, divide that in half. That's how I did it, folks. I learned to trust these things because I graduated into them. I didn't just go out and say, oh, well, I got big brass. I ain't afraid of nothing. I'm going to go out there and just do it this way. No way. No way. That's not how it's done. I need to feel confident in the trade. I can't be worrying about, am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Because everybody thinks that I'm preaching being right all the time. That's just the default of doing things the right way. I'm not doing things retail logic. I'm doing things that are algorithmic, they repeat based on time and price, and they're very rigid with rules. And if you're not comfortable with rules, you will never reach excellence. Whether it be my rules or anything else that's well-defined, that has statistical probabilities behind it and evidence that it's profitable, no matter what it is, if you're not rule-based and you can't adhere to rules, you will not ever reach excellence. And if you know that's something you're never going to work towards, don't do this. You can hurt yourself, you're going to make yourself miserable, or, and this is what I'm hoping you'll do, you build discipline. You build discipline and you forge this fortitude that, you know what? It makes sense for me not to schedule my success. It makes sense. This is not college education. If you go into this thinking it's going to take at least 4 years before I can get my ICT graduation diploma and get out in the working class of trading and start making my own money and not have a job, doing whatever you were doing before you learned. You can't look at it that way, because if you do, you are stunting your growth and you're building this comfort level that it isn't going to happen for you, and you won't allow it to if it happens sooner. I'm not trying to encourage you to be impatient about it. I'm just saying that many of you will go into this and discover what you were fearful of, the things that you thought were never going to be happening for you. It's impossible for you. What's going to happen for you is going to happen quicker than you thought. And when those things happen and you allow it to be organically occurring, not forced, not pretended, not fake it till you make it. When it happens, they are an encouragement that I can't really adequately describe in words. And when you have it happen to you, you're going to struggle to find words to describe how it feels too, because it feels very empowering. It's like rocket fuel, and it's very encouraging, and it crushes depression. It crushes it because it's a reminder that, you know what? There may have been people that you said that you were going to learn how to do this, and they tried to talk you down out of it. Like you're on a cliff, getting ready to jump off of it, or a high rise, and you're going to jump and commit suicide. Man, don't do it, bro. Don't do it, sister. You got so much to live for. Don't touch smart money concepts. Don't take that leap. And you realize that everybody trying to talk you down from that higher position, that better vantage point, because that's really what it is. You're not jumping off. You're going higher. But their mindset is their only reason why they're going up higher because they want to jump off and commit suicide and do all the wrong things, lose their shirts, be embarrassed that they ever did that stuff. You can't blame them. You can't blame the ant's perspective when the eagle's looking down. They don't see it from their perspective. We don't think like them. Their position is lower, and they're rarely looking above themselves. They're only looking what's in front of them right now. How do you know? Look how they move. In a line, following each other. They're great at preparing. They're hard workers. They're 9-to-5ers. They show up every day on time. They get the job done. Need proof? Take a piece of chicken and put it on the sidewalk and see how long it takes for a whole army of them to come out there. And they're following each other in a single file row. That's not what we are. We have our wings spread open. We have a different perspective. We have heights that we're enjoying. The wind is beneath our wings. We're not trying to do much. All we have to do is spread our wings open. And the winds of success, of the things that we put behind us, the backtesting, all of these rules that we put behind ourselves, that's what's giving us the lift. Sure, there may be an air pocket in the eagle's wings, even though they're spread out and they drop a little bit. They make an adjustment and they're back in the same thing they were doing a moment ago. They're not panicking and forgetting I forgot how to fly. There's a disturbance. There's a big gust of wind. Something happened. I forgot how to fly. I got to start doing something. I better get down there and start walking around on these claws. I got really strong claws, these sharp claws, these talons. The wind just changed a little bit. I got to get out of the air and go down there and walk around on these calls. They don't do that. They don't do that. But that's exactly what people do when they try to learn how to trade. They don't discipline themselves. They don't stick to what works. They don't even know who they are as a trader because they don't do backtesting. They don't journal. They don't log. They don't tell themselves you're doing the right things right now. And they encourage themselves in their journal. If you're going on social media, asking other people to pat you on the back that you did the right thing on that trade, you're doing it wrong. There's no difference between that and an eagle feeling a little bit of a gust of wind and thinking, oh, I forgot how to fly. I need to be encouraged. Let me go down there and hang out with the ants. Because I feel superior among the ants. I can walk around in front of all these ants. Look how much money in my bank account. Let me show you my bank account statement. Look at this. Here's what I got in the bank. That's compensation. That's the clearest indication you don't have it together. That's not excellence. Excellence is, you never hear that person brag about what's in their bank account and show this is what they're in their bank account. This is what they just spent money on. This is what they bought. This is what they did this and did that. They own this. They went here. Wow. They're pretty boring. But guess what? That person ain't boring. They're living a very rich life. They're very, very happy. They're blessed. They're encouraging other people around them, and they're living their best life. That's excellence. That's what it looks like. That's how it's described. Everybody that has real wealth doesn't flaunt it. They don't force it down your throat. And they are not trying to tell you, do what I'm doing. But look around. That's what you see in this industry. And frankly, it's disgusting because it leads you down the primrose lane, and you're going to do things based on impulsiveness because you want to get to the front of the line. You want to drive those nice cars. You want to be able to brag about how much money you paid. Sure. Nice things are nice. But a whole car collection, a whole warehouse of cars that nobody needs to see doesn't make you excellent. It doesn't make you a good trader. It doesn't define you as a person, female or male. It doesn't make you better than anybody else. But you know what excellence is? Excellence is waking up, knowing exactly what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, why you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and no one's opinion about what it is that you do or won't do can change or affect it in any way. And it's profitable. That's excellence. That's what I promise you. If you stick to the things I teach in rule-based ideas, that's the lifestyle. That's the lifestyle and the mindset you'll have. But I can't promise it's going to happen for all of you, and I can't promise it's going to happen for you quickly. And it's a struggle because we as organic beings, we're stuck in this body. And this body wants to do things that it shouldn't want to do. And we wrestle with it. And we have emotions and we have needs on a psychological level where we need to feel validated. We need to feel coddled sometimes, even if you're really strong and burly. Sometimes you just need to be told, you know what, I love you. I care about you, and I would be miserable without you. And I'm just thankful that you're just here with me. Sometimes we just need that. And when that's given to us, man, I would do anything for you because I know you care that way about me. That's living well. Not, I'm glad we have all this and I can afford this and I can do this for you and I can pay for that. That's not. That's superficial. That's all momentary. It's fleeting. It's here for 1 minute and it's gone. You need to have purpose in life. And I don't want people learning from me to get rich and go out there and flaunt what they have because that level of living, that is very superficial. It's shallow. You can't make people with money like myself. I'm not impressed by any of that stuff. In fact, it's distasteful. And it's aimed at a demographic that is going to be motivated to pay for something when it's done that way. I want it so bad, I'll buy in on that idea because I want to be like that. And I've done that and I wasn't happy. And if they were happy, they wouldn't be shilling because they'd be content. Contentment is, I don't have to do anything and I'm happy. I don't have to get out and do anything. I don't have to make YouTube videos for ad revenue. I don't have to go sell courses. You guys are barking for these books. I know what these books are going to do. I already told you everything in these books is on my YouTube channel. But I want to teach you how to live well as a trader. But that first half of your career, that first half is going to be filled with doubts, second thoughts, regrets, wishing you would have did this and not that. Wish I would have never listened to that person. I wish I would have learned this sooner. And you're going to wrestle with all these things that you have no control over. What if thinking? What if I did this? What if I did that? And what if it doesn't do this? And what if I don't make enough money to be able to pay for a house in cash in the next 5 years? What happens if you can get the down payment? Is that failure? No. So you have to allow your goals to be organic as well. Let them materialize as your skill set provides the means to be able to accomplish them. By forcing all this, I have to, you increase the level of demand on you. It's impossible to enjoy the process. When I was younger, I wanted to be a cook. And I loved watching cooking shows. There was an Asian man named Yan Can Cook. And just very good entertainer. I could barely understand what he was saying many times, but I was still entertained by it. And he would make these dishes beautifully. He would garnish them. He'd cut a turnip up and shape it all up and look like a turkey. And it was amazing stuff. And I was like, I want to make food that looks like that. Now, think about what I just said. I wanted to be a cook so I can make food look like that. And you know what? I learned how to garnish things like fruit and vegetables and make them into animals and shapes. And I thought it's great. It was great. You know what it did for the taste of that? Nothing. It did nothing for the taste. So what did I do? I pursued learning how to cook. I pursued culinary arts because I wanted to be a good garnisher. I had no interest in making food taste good. I was young. I was 17 years old. Here I am watching public television. Every possible cook show, I'm watching it. And VCR tapes in, recording it. And the ones I didn't like, I would record over the next time I was on. I was obsessive. But what was my task? I wanted to be a good garnisher. I wanted to make things look amazing with food. But it did nothing for my skill set in terms of making the food taste good. I'm sure Yan made that dish taste amazing. I never had the opportunity to taste it, but he certainly made it look beautiful. Just like cake decorating. I wanted to open up a bakery and I wanted to decorate cakes. I wanted the cakes to look amazing. And I learned all that piping technique and everything, how to make a cake look wonderful. My family loves when I make my own cakes. But when I first started learning about these, I couldn't make a cake that wasn't not overly dry. It didn't taste right. Something was off. And what was I doing? I was learning to make something look good. But I couldn't care less in the beginning if the thing tasted good. And then what I learned in my maturity is, you know what? Sure, I can boil water. Sure, I can do that. But what happens when I want to make the dish taste good? I don't have that yet. And that's where my focus turned to. I want to learn how to cook and make the dishes taste well, good, really, really good, and look good. So I bring this up, and some of you younger folks right now are probably getting irritated by this. You're like, man, what does this got to do with anything? You're just ranting on and on. Here's the message, okay? Here's the moral. You're probably getting into trading because you want the Lamborghini lifestyle, and it's tasteless. It's superficial. It looks good. But everybody that puts that out there, I promise you, I promise you, they are ate up with pursuits of feeling significant, that they're miserable. And they constantly have to keep putting that stuff out there because that defines them in the perception of everyone else around them. Because they feel inadequate. They feel it. And my advice to you is as you're learning how to do this and you start making money, don't fall into that trap because it doesn't fill any hole. It creates this vacuum that you never fill. You never fill it. You might have lots of money and you're going to have to keep buying new cars and buying new things, buy new houses. You can only do that so much, folks, until it really comes down crashing on you. Like, this doesn't really make me happy doing this. So what is excellence for you? Send it to me as a tweet, as a response to this invitation here. Let me know what's success to you. What is excellence in success for you? What is that goal? Where does that mile marker exist in you? Because if you don't have that, if you haven't defined what that is, you're going to miss that target all the time. Did you miss it? Did it go over your head? Unless you define exactly what you're aiming for within reasonability of your proper skill set at this moment right now, or where you hope to be at some future time that's undefined without a scheduled date to it, no expiration date. Success doesn't have an expiration date, and it doesn't have a best by date either. But so many times we treat it like it has to be this or nothing. And you wonder why you don't do well. Because subconsciously you said, if it doesn't happen by this time, then I don't want it at all. All or nothing. Oh, that's a gambler's mindset. And you need to have someone that's lived through that tell you that's what that is. And you may be not thinking about it or recognizing it as such, but that's exactly what it is. You're putting so much emotional emphasis on feeling adequate, feeling like you've achieved something in a short span of time. So therefore, it means you're the chosen one. The stars are aligned and everything was just, put in motion for you to be here right now. That might not be true for you at the moment. That doesn't mean you can't have wild success. It doesn't mean that you can't achieve your goals and do it sooner than you probably ever imagined, but you have to be flexible and let it happen. You have to enjoy being a trader. And I'm going to tell you something. I have lots of people that make money learning what I teach, and they're not happy as a trader. They hate trading. Why? Because they're wrestling themselves. I hate trading. I hate trading. I make a lot of money. I wish I could do something else and make money. What are they telling you? Think about it. What are they saying to you by saying something like that? They're saying that they're not comfortable in their own skin. They don't like the risk. They don't like the uncertainty. They haven't embraced the outcome is whatever it's going to be, and they have no control over it. And 99% of those types of individuals are all influencers. Let me say it again. 99% of these individuals are online influencers around trading. And they wonder why it's so hard, because you have elevated yourself to some measure of importance that you have to be all the time on. You always have to be in character. You always have to be on point. You can never do it wrong. Because if it happens, people will see through those cracks and they won't have the affinity for you that they have right now. That's what's going on. Trading doesn't get any harder, but living in your own skin as a trader with all of these extra things piled on top of yourself, that's difficult. And it's also not excellence. When you pursue excellence, what does it look like theoretically in the scope of trading? Well, what I teach you to do is I want you to think about things topically. The question always comes up, ICT, can you please just just be very specific and tell me what videos or what playlists on your YouTube channel should I watch to get me into the groove of things right now. Like I want the shortest, right to the punchline. Just tell me what it is that will get me started. You're asking me as the author to give you the perfect outline, an agenda, and a curriculum that if you just study everything, pick up a playlist. I don't care. But if I could tell you honestly, what I've done in the last 2 years is such a direct, right to the point that if you can't see value in what it is I teach through the last 2 years of lectures, and there's not even that many of them really, or if you look at that and you think, well, that's too much, can't do it, go do something else. Because you're exhibiting characteristics that is not going to be synonymous with someone that's going to find success in trading. You have to be willing to read. You have to be willing to put time into it. You have to be willing to defer immediate gratification. And you have to love what it is I'm teaching as a lifestyle, not me. You're not worshiping me. You're not loving me. Okay. You're not hailing me king, goat, or anything like that. But you have to love what it is I'm trying to instill in you as a lifestyle. This is what you do. In the form of meditation, you study price action. And you know by doing this that it's going to leave a lasting impression in your subconscious. So that way, when you watch real-time price action, you will start picking up on, you know what? That driver in front of me is getting ready to change lanes and they're not going to use the signal. That same moment of being able to feel like you're clairvoyant, like you can predict the future, it will feel just like those moments I described in this lecture here. You can't put your finger on how you just knew, but it happens. It's intuition. Well, when you get into this loop of reading price action, it's very empowering. There's no way for me to articulate the measure of power it feels like, because you're literally holding time and space in your hand and you're calling it before it happens. And the first time you recognize you're able to do this, it feels like a marvel moment. Like somehow you just had the candlesticks radioactive bit you, and now you have the skill set to be able to climb candlesticks with no problem at all. Like you're Spider-Man. You can predict the next run in price higher and lower, where it's going to go, and stop, turn around, go the other way. It's amazing the feeling you get from it. But in the beginning, it's going to be fleeting. It's going to come in and fall out, and it's going to come in and manifest itself, and then not. If you watched Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's rendition of Spider-Man, his approach was presenting Spider-Man with the ability to create the web in his own body. He didn't have the web cartridges like the comic strip actually had, but he didn't understand what caused that web to come out of his hand. So it was like it would happen, then it wouldn't happen. And it was intermittent. His abilities were intermittent. Sometimes he could do it, sometimes he couldn't. Kind of like when Superman was learning how to fly. It wasn't easy for him in the beginning, but eventually he got there. So here you have examples of two of the most powerful superheroes, and yeah, they're make-believe, but look at the testimony that they're providing for you. These are Marvel and DC giants in the comic book world. Their origin story showed that they didn't walk out and they had it all together in the beginning. So why are you expecting it? Why are you expecting that? Allow that growth. Allow that organic understanding to build into that Marvel-like response of you being able to read price action, because you have to learn that first. And you have to do that well for a period of time before you do what you think right now is finding the entry patterns. Tell me how to find the right fair value gap. I've done that. I've literally encapsulated it inside of 30 minutes or a maximum of 60 minutes. The opening range, or 10 o'clock, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or 8 o'clock in the morning, where you get the best of both worlds. You have opening range at 8 o'clock to 8:30 news event with news embargo lifts. First presented fair value gap in that 1 30-minute period of time right there. Boom. Study that one. He always does this. He always does it. He just crones and crones and crones, on and on and on. And then he drops something like that. That's how I do it. That's how I do it. Because it's not good for you to come in and eat the pudding before your meat. You want your pudding? You got to eat your meat. Behave. Stop thinking like that. So the bottom line is this. By having a topical approach to the studying, each week, like it's a weekend right now, Saturday, 1st of November, 2025. Time goes by quick, doesn't it? Wait till you're in your 50s. It's zooming by. I'll be 54 soon, and I'm freaking out over it. I'm like, wow, there's so many things I want to do. There's so many things I want to do. And I can't do all those things and make videos and be online all the time with all of you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm living. But having a topical approach to studying, on the weekends, you should sit down and say, okay, I'm going to endeavor to study the opening range this coming week. My focus is primarily just on that. I'm going to study how the daily range is formulated around that first 30 minutes. What am I referring to? 9:30 in the morning, Eastern time, to 10 o'clock for NQ. Okay. If you are a Forex trader, you're going to do the same thing with US 100, the CFD. The same thing with US 100 is the same thing we do in futures trading. There's no inhibition, no limitation. Okay. I can't trade futures. I'm not listening to ICT's recent stuff. All he talks about is NQ. No, I'm talking about price. I'm talking about price at the right time. All you have to do is apply it to the other markets too. It happens. It's happening in euro. It's happening in British pound. Just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean they're not formulating the same type of strategy there. It's happening all the time. But I'm trying to teach you to be a specialist. Pick one market. I don't want to trade Forex. And because you want me to, some of you think that that makes me less of a teacher because I'm not doing what you want me to do. When I'm trying to teach you as the teacher, this is what I want to do. I want to specialize in this because I told you to specialize in one market. Am I walking the thing I'm teaching? Yes, I'm walking it out. I don't care what gold's doing. I don't care what oil's going to do. I don't care what soybeans is going to do because China's going to start buying them again. I don't care because I'm trying to teach you to limit your focus on one thing and master that one thing and do one thing well. Because if you can do that one thing, and I'll tell you what that one thing is in a moment, you will make everything you need to make to live. And if you do that, you maximize it with heavy lifting through money management, not over leveraging, but with money management. It can do the heavy lifting. And what you can do with a cookie cutter approach of doing one thing well, what is one thing? Silver bullet. Wait for that 10 o'clock first fair value gap and an obvious draw on liquidity that matches the daily range narrative. Is it going to be bullish today? Wonderful. I'm only interested in going long. I want to see something in the first 30 minutes where it's traded down below some measure of sell side liquidity, absorb that, and then left relative equal highs. So right now you have a stage set. Perfect. This is not complicated. Why don't, wait a minute, wait, Michael, wait. Go back. You said you're bullish. How do you arrive at that? Because if you could teach that, I've already done that. Look at your weekly chart. What is it likely reaching for on the weekly chart? Some old high or some old low for the liquidity or the inefficiencies that exist before that old high or old low. That could be your first rung of low-hanging fruit objective. If it gives a yield of 75 handles or 75 pips or more, to do that, not even go to the old high or old low, that's your bias. Every day you look for that. Does that mean every single day is it going to be up close candle? No. But over time, you're going to know that because it isn't a down close day or it's an indecisive day, you know what's coming next. Bullish day. You have to allow some measure of, well, I guess, inconsistency in the beginning because you're learning, you're fumbling while you're learning how to do this. And that's all normal. It doesn't feel normal. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's not encouraging when it's happening. You need someone to just say, hey, look, this isn't going to happen for you anymore after that time or that instance of you falling down. But falling down is part of that process because you learn how to endure. How can you ever possibly learn to come out of drawdown, which is going to happen to all of you? You are all going to experience a series of losing trades. No matter how much you learn from me, no matter how well you get good at doing this, you're going to have a series of losing trades. It's unavoidable. You cannot avoid it. I cannot teach you how to avoid that. But you will encounter it. Now, pray tell, how on earth do you believe you're ever going to come out of any drawdown, ever, unless you have encountered doing it wrong at least once? Without emotion, without having a meltdown, without thinking, oh, this is different. They changed the algorithm. They're moving on ICT. It's the new retail, believing everybody out there that has all these stupid ideas. You ever missed a day of work? Oh, well, I didn't get to go to work yesterday. I got the flu. You were really sick. You really did not feel well. And you didn't go in. And guess what? Those are hours not earned. So you're short on the pay. Well, I don't have the paycheck that I usually have. Might as well get another job. That's exactly what traders do. What? I took a loss. Well, it's time to go back to the drawing board. Let me see who's hot right now on social media. What are you selling? I don't want to take another one of those losing trades. If that's how you think, if that's what you know about yourself, don't trade. Don't even get into this, because you're going to have losing trades. You're going to have lots and lots of losing trades over a long, long career if you're going to be a trader. And that is absolutely part of this lifestyle. And anybody that tries to sell you the idea that it's not is lying to you. They're making up something. They're wrapping up with fraud and deception, and they're leading you down the primrose lane. And I'm trying to just remind you that there's a right way to do this, and there's a wrong way to do it. And there's the wrong expectations, and there's the reasonable expectations. And I'm simply trying to be a voice of reason, calibrating you. That's all. Just trying to remind you, this is what's normal. This is not normal. And these are the right steps to get to excellence. But you have to have a topical study approach and limit your study in the beginning. And I don't care if you've been studying me for a while. If you're not consistently profitable and you don't have a model you stay adhered to all the time, you never deviate from, this applies to you too. Anybody that has a consistent model that they're profitable with and they don't do anything else, they see anything else I make a lecture about or talk about, they don't care. I don't care what he's teaching. Dude, I'm making money. I have something I'm working with right now. I don't need to tinker with it. That's exactly what I taught. Once you find that for yourself, lock in and block everybody, including me, out. I've done my job. I pointed the way. I was a conduit. You learned. You made it yours. You're making money. Goodbye. Goodbye. Get out of the nest. It's time for you to fly. I got other children to raise up now, and I need the space. Get out. Happy flights. Good luck. Enjoy your life. That's the dichotomy here. We don't have tethering here. That's not what this is about. If I was a cult leader, I would keep you all attached to me, tethered to me. Pay me, baby. Pay for my time. That's what a cultist would do. I'm cultivating independent thought. Independence, that's what you really want. Maybe you haven't qualified and quantified it and identified that for yourself, but that's exactly what everybody wants. They want their time to be their time. How they want to spend it, what they want to do, when they want to do it. I don't want to do that today. And guess what? I don't feel guilty by saying no. That's freedom. That's excellence. Topical study. Give me some ideas, ITC. Come on. Give me something to work with. Give me something to get my hands into now. Okay. Opening range, first 30 minutes. 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Every day this coming week, your obsession is that only. Now, since it's a topical study, you can do what with it? You can do it over a couple different markets, not just NQ. And you will learn to see that there are repeating phenomenon happening in all the other markets at the same time. They're not one-trick ponies, okay? That's how you know it's algorithmic. They don't have this same algorithm, this one algorithm that drives all the market. You're right. They don't have one algorithm that is tentacles into everything and it's controlling all the different. No, every individual asset has its own script it runs off of. And what do you think that script is? It's the same source code. I don't want you to believe me, okay? I don't want you to believe me. I want you to go out there and try to debunk it. I want you to look for evidence to be the contrary. I want you to do that because when you do this, I got you. Just like that. I got you. Because you will never be able to wrestle away from it saying, no, it's not there. Because you're going to see it. If you live this life as a speculator, never looking for evidence, never looking for signs and proof that there is a script behind price, it's no wonder you're never going to recognize it. You're never going to see it. But when you're going in and looking for clues, looking for evidence, the breadcrumb trail that's left by it, undeniable. Undeniable. And how can you prove it? Because it's happening at the right time. All the time. All the time, on time. That's what the algorithm is. And so you're not trying to beat the market. You're never going to beat the market maker. You're never going to beat them. The only thing you can do is ride on the wake that they leave behind. They can't hide it. They're never going to be able to hide it. And that should be an encouragement to you. And by looking at a topical study each week, the opening range, what does the first fair value gap do in that 9:30 to 10 o'clock? How is it used that day? How is it used for the rest of the week? How is it used in the afternoon session? How does the first opposing imbalance, for instance, let's say, one of my students also asked about this. He's probably tickled right now because he knows where I'm going with this. Let's say, for instance, the first time the fair value gap forms in 9:30 to 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So you say the first moment it forms, and it happens to occur on the basis of a down closed candle. So it's a SIBI, sell-side imbalance, buy-side inefficiency. So down closed candle, imbalance, lower close. If you're bullish, if it trades down into that and stays with the bodies in the upper half, that's indication that it's likely to start spooling higher and order flow should be delivered on a bullish bias. That means up closed candles and in any down closed candle support price. That's the dichotomy. Once you see that, it goes boom, 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 boom. That's your logic. That's what you roll into. That's your thought process. The very first buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency that forms immediately, same time frame, after that first fair value gap, that's a SIBI. You want to recognize the first fair value gap that's a BISI. So it's the opposite of what the first presented fair value gap is. Okay, so if it's the first presented fair value gap, it's a SIBI, down closed candle. The first bullish up closed candle fair value gap, BISI. You want to start tracking that one too. Carry it through the rest of the week, not just today, not just into the afternoon. Carry it for the week. There's this relationship there that I want you to see for yourself. Not just today, carry it through the week. Okay, that's your topical homework for this week. Don't just do it in NQ because it's very simple. It only takes a minute to pull it up in your charts and click extend right. And then there you have all the information to study. So you can do it with multiple markets because you're doing a topical study. You'll be able to glean a lot of information from that. And you can do it with old data too. You can go back to the left, dig into old days, goes back as far as you can. And gather a lot of examples in chart form, in annotations, and be excited about what you see because you're going to see that there are very stellar setups in price action, price runs that were like, wow, that literally keyed right off of that. And it did everything ICT talks about. Stayed in the upper half, stayed in the lower half. It presented itself perfectly at the right time. And all these things will repeat. And all of a sudden, what will happen is by having a top-level study mindset each week, you go into deeper understanding about that one topic. And there's 52 weeks in a year. Whether you're trading with real money or not, you got 52 weeks where you could do topical studies. Man, you could learn a lot over 1 year doing topical studies like that. When does the daily high and low form? You can add that in for the week as well. What constitutes the daily high and low? Where does it form? Why did it form? And you need to be very diligent about explaining to yourself in hindsight why it formed there. What liquidity did it take before it did it? What liquidity did it run to purge? What offset distribution was underway when the price rallied up above an old relative equal high or an old high and singular high? What was the primary function of price going there? What took place beforehand? Where did smart money get in? Do you have examples of that in your charts? Do you have examples in your study journal where you log that? I promise you, if you haven't done that, you're missing a great opportunity to understand all of the underlying pinnings of the marketplace that is alien to you because you're not looking for it. You're not actively pursuing it. You're just waiting for the next thing I'm talking about. When I've already laid down a compendium of things for you to, for the rest of your life, you have a rich tapestry in front of you where you have unlimited, literally unlimited opportunity to make yourself better at reading price action, which is necessary before you ever learn how to trade. Because before you ever learn to do the entries, you got to learn how to know. That doesn't sound good to other people in the industry. Predicting price is impossible. No one can time the market. Don't bother trying because no one can do it with any measure of consistency. Yeah. That's how you know this stuff's going to keep working. Oh, man, it never gets old. I love it. Some goober every single week literally shows up. ICT, listen to me, man. Nobody can time the market, okay? You can't do it. The market's random, and you're just going to have to do it, like everybody else does. Guess. It's silly, isn't it? If you've been around for a while, you know what's up. It's silly. That's silly. And these people try to comfort themselves with that drivel. It's nonsensical. It's comic strip level lunacy. We know when they're going to change lanes without a turn signal. We know what song is playing on the radio before we turn it on. To everyone else, it looks like a cult. To everyone else, we're egomaniacs. No, we're just dialed in. We're ahead of the curve. That's it. That's all it is. And we're not trying to keep anybody else out. Come on in. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of room here. I got a table with all kinds of seats waiting for any of you to come sit down. It's free. It's free. Free gold, free platinum, free diamonds. All you have to do is apply yourself. Quit at any time. You're under no obligation. How's that feel? Hard to trust it, isn't it? I understand. It's too good to be true until you realize it's the truth. And what happens when you get to do this for a while and you get real comfortable with picking when the market's going to run, how it's going to run to, where it's going to go to? How do you know it's going to go to that level, ICT? Because I've done this for a long time. I've back tested. I forward tested. I watched price for a long time without taking trades. And then when I took trades, I did it with really, really low leverage. For me, I had to trade mid-am contracts. Mid-am contracts was kind of like a halfway point for commodities. You had the full size contract, and then you had a mid-am. It was a partial contract. That was it. Unless you traded an option, that was the only choices you had. And we didn't have Forex back then. We had currency futures with mid-am contracts. But now you have the luxury of minis and micros, and with Forex, you can dial it down to like a penny. Like you have such a degree of customization that I didn't have. So you have no reason for you to blow out your accounts. You have zero reasons for that. But you have all the reasons in the world to prove that you know what you're doing with the least exposure. And even that should be done after 6 months of proving that you can call price action in your own hands. It does exactly what you think it's going to do, candle by candle, and you're consistent with it. It doesn't mean you can't be wrong, but if you're wrong, it doesn't undermine the level of importance you've placed on the model you're trying to adhere to. That's excellence. Not insanity where you're trying to do the same thing over and over again, which is undisciplined, expecting a different result. You're going to be consistently inconsistent. That's what you're going to get. But because it's not what you want, you're going to go mad. You're going to desire something else to fix your problem. And you're going to reach outside yourself and blame other people. It may be your spouse, it may be your own children, it may be your coworkers, your friends, and you're going to alienate these individuals because your level of discontentment with yourself and your unbelievably unable to get to this level of consistency because you're trying to do things that's never going to make you arrive there. And you don't even recognize what it is you're doing because you're being stubborn. You don't want to listen to people that know how to do it. You don't want to listen to someone that's doing it. You don't want to listen to someone that's proving it. You don't want to listen to somebody that's got an army of people out there doing it on their own. I don't give signals. I don't tell people buy this, sell this. I don't do that. And they're making fortunes. And these companies out there are allowing it to be public record how much they're taking from them. That's undeniable proof that it works in other people's hands. And that's all I want you to do is let it work in your own hands. But you have to give yourself time to get there. If you force it all the time, you're going to fall short. And that falling down in any other measure of approach where you're not forcing the income, you're not forcing that you're profitable right away or in a short period of time. If you're allowing yourself to defer immediate gratification and look at the craft, the science behind what it is you're doing. Because money, listen to me, folks, making lots of money doesn't make uncertainty go away. You can make lots of money, but you will still have doubts about what it is you're doing on the next trades. I have students that do that a lot. There's other people out there that make money trading weird stuff that I don't have any affinity for, without beating them all up. And I got your email, Mr. Pitchfork Guy, and that didn't prove anything. That is not what I'm doing here, and it's not. There's nothing out here, not one thing like myself. It ain't there. So I appreciate it. Was an amusing email, but it's still nonsense. That's why I muted you in the private mentorship too, because it's completely nonsense. But you're welcome to go and bloviate about it on social media and try to prove it and see if you get anybody else to believe you. It'd be interesting. But you're an audience of one. But the idea of having this expectation of finding the perfect never loses model. It's always upside. It's always big wins and never a losing trade. That model doesn't exist. That is the non-existent model. Nobody trades it. It doesn't exist. I don't own it. I don't have it. I didn't author it. And you will never arrive at that. So you have to warm up to the idea that you're going to do things wrong sometimes. And if you have adopted this idea of knowing your skill set is you can read price action well. Now watch here. We're going to take a big leap forward. A big paradigm shift that's going to take place now. For 6 months, you have proven with logs and journals that you have watched price action and you've recorded when you did it wrong. You've recorded what it felt like when you did it wrong. You're not beating yourself up, but you're recording when you did it wrong and what you felt. But then you encourage yourself in the same journal entry. Every other time, you're encouraging yourself nonstop. You're cheerleading yourself. It's literally like you're trying to give yourself a sugar coma. It's a love fest. It's self-love, and there's no shame in it, because you need to encourage that inner trader in you that's still growing as a child until it grows to maturity and it can do anything and everything it wants to do independent from what you believe about your capabilities as a trader now. You have to coddle that internal person, that who you are and who you're trying to be. That has to be done by you. I can only do it so much, and your loved ones and friends, that if they support you, which is a rare thing in trading.